According to a survey, over 2/3 of Americans are planning to travel this summer. This means that airlines, restaurants, and more have been ramping up their hiring. Who do they turn to? ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for your job, and you can easily invite your top choices to apply. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/5things.
As we shift to vaccine abundance, we're going to start to see the groups of people in the areas of the country where there is less interest in getting vaccinated and start focusing information efforts on those people.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Wilson, and this is 5 Things You Need to Know Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. Today, pandemic relief legislation could be passed within hours. Plus, is the U.S. about to have a vaccine surplus? And more. Here are some of the top headlines. The first state to remove all eligibility requirements for the COVID-19 vaccine, Alaska. Anyone aged 16 and up who lives or works in the state can now get vaccinated. The NBA is investigating a video of Miami Heat player Myers Leonard using an anti-Semitic slur while streaming himself playing a video game on Tuesday. He'll remain away from the team indefinitely. And a television station in Bangladesh has hired the country's first transgender news anchor. Tashnuva Anand Shishir previously worked as an activist and actress. President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion pandemic relief package is about to pass. The Democratic-controlled House passed a key procedural measure on Tuesday night, and the chamber is now expected to pass the bill on Wednesday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
It's a remarkable, historic, transformative piece of legislation which goes a very long way to crushing the virus and solving our economic crisis.
The bill is expected to pass thanks to Democrats' majorities in both chambers, though Republicans are overwhelmingly against the legislation for a variety of reasons. Finance reporter Jessica Menton tells us more about the bill, including its headline item, $1,400 relief payments for many Americans.
Under the plan, many Americans would receive up to $1,400 stimulus checks, and the relief package would extend badly needed jobless aid to September 6th and continue to offer recipients an extra $300 per week. When it comes to the timing of the checks, Americans should see them land in their bank accounts in a matter of a few weeks for those who filed via direct deposit. If the bill is signed into law by March 14th, the first direct deposits may start hitting bank accounts the week of March 22nd, and paper checks may be sent out the week of March 29th, based on the timeline for prior relief plans. But not everyone who got a check last time will be eligible this time around. The payments would start to phase out for individuals earning $75,000 and cut off completely for anyone who makes more than $80,000. When it comes to couples filing jointly, the phase out would start for those making $150,000 and then cut off at $160,000. So that may exclude as many as 8 million people who had received checks in the prior rounds. If a taxpayer doesn't file their 2020 tax returns before Congress passes the relief bill, experts say the IRS will likely rely on their 2019 tax returns to calculate their payment. If you're in that threshold where you're in between $75,000 and $80,000, you wouldn't get the full $1,400 amount if you had filed as a single person. It would be a little bit under $1,400. So you wouldn't get quite as much as the full amount, but you would still get something. For a lot of people who, depending on if they had already filed their 2020 returns, some people, maybe they made less in 2020 than they did in 2019. So now they may qualify, whereas other people, it might be the reverse, to where now their income might be above that if they already did their 2020 return, and they might not be able to qualify now.
Once the House passes the legislation, it'll go to President Joe Biden for his signature. As he said Monday, he'll sign it as soon as he gets it. Throughout the day, you can stick with our live stimulus updates page on usatoday.com. The United States might be just a couple months away from swimming in COVID-19 vaccine. That's especially important news as vaccine hesitancy continues to drop around the country, though there could be new challenges. Health reporter Elizabeth Weiss explains.
Right now, at this exact moment in time, it is kind of hard to imagine that there will come a time where there's going to be enough vaccine to go around. Various people say that could even happen as early as late April. Right now in the United States, people are clamoring to get vaccine. The folks who want vaccine are clicking refresh, staying on hold for hours, standing in line because they want to get vaccinated. As we shift to vaccine abundance, we're going to start to see the groups of people in the areas of the country where there is less interest in getting vaccinated and start focusing information efforts on those people, because the key is getting lots of people vaccinated so we get to a level of herd immunity high enough that there isn't just free-floating COVID everywhere. And when you talk to doctors, and especially virologists live in a very scary world of mutations. And the virologists, they all say, listen, we are in a race because the longer the virus is spreading willy-nilly in the country, the more time it has to mutate into new and more interesting and more powerful versions. So we want to tamp that down. We want to vaccinate everybody so there are very few ways for this virus to be in the community, so it's just got the fewer people it's in, the fewer chances it has to mutate. The number of Americans who say they will not get vaccinated has been falling steadily. As you start to know your grandparents have been vaccinated, your parents, your next door neighbor, and you see that they're fine, some of those concerns go away. Over time, I think we will see a relatively high percentage of Americans getting vaccinated.
More than 18% of Americans have received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. And while health officials continue to stress caution on new variants, most Americans are already relaxing their own habits in regards to COVID. According to an Axios Ipsos poll out on Tuesday, 13% of those polled reported self-quarantining, down from 19% last month and 55% last April. More Americans are also going out to eat, visiting friends or relatives, and visiting stores for things other than just groceries. But the economic impact of the pandemic is still hitting people hard. A new poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research found that 4 in 10 Americans are still feeling the financial impact from a lost job or income in their household. Jury selection will continue Wednesday in the trial of Derek Chauvin. The court heard from 10 possible jurors on Tuesday and selected 3 of them. Judge Peter Cahill.
You have been summoned, as you know, as potential jurors in the case of State of Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin, which is a criminal case related to the death of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020.
Chauvin, a former police officer in Minneapolis, faces several charges related to the death of George Floyd there last May. Video showed Chauvin on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes. Like Tuesday, lawyers will continue to question potential jurors about their knowledge of the case, the protests related to it last year, and Floyd's death. Some prospective jurors have already expressed safety concerns about serving on such a high-profile and divisive case. 3 weeks have been set aside to choose the jury. The final Senate confirmation of Merrick Garland for Attorney General is set for Wednesday. Garland is a longtime federal judge and former federal prosecutor, and he's expected to win bipartisan support. President Joe Biden has laid out a number of priorities for the Department of Justice over the next few years. They include addressing racial inequities in the justice system, fighting domestic extremism, and reasserting the independence of federal law enforcement. Also on Wednesday, Marcia Fudge is expected to be confirmed as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Piers Morgan will be leaving the popular British morning TV show ITV's Good Morning Britain. The move comes amid an investigation following his comments on Duchess Meghan and Prince Harry. The UK's Office of Communications said it received more than 40,000 complaints from the public surrounding his comments. A communication spokesperson told USA Today that they've launched an investigation under harm and offense rules. Morgan said Monday that he, quote, didn't believe a word she says, unquote, talking after Meghan Markle's bombshell interview with Oprah that aired Sunday night. Meghan spoke of a number of struggles in the royal family, including thoughts of suicide. Piers Morgan ended his time on the show when he stormed off on Tuesday following a heated discussion with another host about Meghan's allegations of racism in the royal family. For its part, Buckingham Palace issued a short statement on Tuesday in response to the Oprah interview, saying that the couple's accusations of racism and lack of support are taken seriously and will be addressed privately. Thanks for listening to 5 Things. You can also drop us 5 stars if you get a sec on Apple Podcasts, and you can listen wherever you like to find your podcasts, including Stitcher and Spotify. Thanks as always to Claire Thornton and Shannon Green for their work on the show. 5 Things is part of the USA Today network.
There are some things in life that I like to pick out myself, so I know I've got the one that's best for me, like cuts of steak, mattresses, bottles of wine. What if you could do the same for hiring? That's where ZipRecruiter's Invite to Apply comes in. It lets you pick your favorites from top candidates. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/5things. How does Invite to Apply work? ZipRecruiter sends you the most qualified people for your job. Then you can easily review the candidates and invite your top choices to apply. Lauren Webb, SVP of Talent Acquisition for Mindula Health, raves about ZipRecruiter's Invite to Apply. She says, I love that feature because we have a much higher follow-through rate if I invite candidates. It's easy for me, and it's easy for them. See for yourself. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/5THINGS to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/5things.